We all know Drake can afford to gamble away millions on camera. Buy a $185 million jet, and even call a billionaire a snake on live stream? Dude is rich. But to figure out how rich he really is, I'm gonna be using some mind-blowing stats to show how Drake went from making $2,000 a month on a Canadian TV show to building a $400 million empire, all to see how he stacks up against hip-hop's biggest legends. See, Drake wasn't always champagne poppy, cause at first, Aubrey Drake Graham grew up in Toronto with his mom Sandy, who was battling osteoporosis so bad she could barely get out of bed some days. And his dad Dennis, he was a drummer from Memphis who got locked up twice on drug charges during Drake's childhood. So while other kids were worrying about homework, young Aubrey was watching his mom suffer and waiting for a dad who kept ending up behind bars. That's rough, but here's where things start to change. Cause a kid in Drake's class noticed he was funny as hell and good with words. So he introduced him to his dad, who happened to be a talent agent. That connection got Drake an audition for a Canadian teen drama called Degrassi. Now at just 15 years old, he landed the role of Jimmy Brooks, a basketball star who gets shot by a classmate and ends up in a wheelchair. Yeah, they really had my boy in a wheelchair for the rest of the show. Now you'd think being on TV would mean he was getting paid, right? Well, Drake himself said his salary was under a teacher's salary, which was about $50,000 a year, or roughly $2,000 a month after taxes. And because his mom was too sick to work, those little Degrassi checks were the only money coming into their house. He was literally keeping his family alive off Canadian TV money. And if you think that's bad, years after the show ended, Drake posted a pic of his Degrassi residual check on Instagram, $8.25. Bro captioned it, "Degrassi money still coming in, don't sleep," with all the money bag emojis. But even while he was collecting those legendary paychecks, Drake was already making moves, cause after filming all day on set, he'd hit the studio and record music until 4 or 5 in the morning, then sleep in his dressing room and be back on camera by 9 a.m. Eventually, the show told him he had to choose between acting and music. He chose music. And in February 2006, at just 19 years old, Drake dropped his first mixtape, A Room for Improvement, selling about 6,000 copies off MySpace and his website, if that doesn't tell you how long ago this was. The next year, he dropped Comeback Season through his own label, October's Very Own, a KAOVO, where one of the songs got featured on BET, making Drake the first unsigned Canadian rapper to ever appear on the network. But here's where everything changes. The song sampled a Lil Wayne track, and Wayne loved it so much, he invited Drake to join him on tour. They recorded together, and by the summer of 2009, Drake released So Far Gone. That mixtape didn't just go viral, it went nuclear. Best I Ever Had was everywhere. And in mid-2009, Lil Wayne signed Drake to Young Money Entertainment. So when it came to his net worth at this point, well, going off that $50,000 a year Degrassi salary over about 7 years, and his mixtape buzz just starting to generate real money, I'd say Drake was sitting at maybe a few $100,000 for now. Cause over the next few years of Drake's career, everything exploded. In 2010, Drake dropped Thank Me Later, his first official studio album, #1 debut on the Billboard 200. Then came Take Care in 2011, which won a Grammy for Best Rap Album. Nothing Was the Same in 2013, #1. Views in 2016, #1 for 13 straight weeks, and it made Drake the most streamed artist in Spotify history at that time. Scorpion in 2018, #1, with a record-breaking 745 million streams in its first week. Sensing a pattern here, every single album Drake has ever dropped has debuted at #1. That doesn't happen by accident. And by 2017, Drake was pulling in $95 million in a single year, which at the time made him one of the highest earning musicians on the planet. But the music money was only the beginning, cause in 2022, something happened that changed Drake's finances forever. Universal Music Group confirmed they re-signed Drake to a long-term worldwide partnership? Sounds boring, right? Until you hear the number. Drake rapped in one of his songs about signing a deal that came with $360 up front. Fans thought he was talking about $360 million, and multiple industry sources confirmed the total deal was worth at least $400 million. $400 million for one single deal? And this wasn't just for music. It covered recorded music, publishing, film, television, and brands. Before signing that deal, Drake's music catalog alone was generating $50 million a year for Universal, so after taxes, Drake would have theoretically pocketed around $200 million up front, $200,000 in one check. Meanwhile, I'm over here getting excited about finding a $20 bill in my jacket pocket, but the UMG deal was just one piece of the puzzle, because Drake was also breaking records on the road. Now, most rappers are happy doing a sold-out arena here and there. Drake, man's treated touring like a part-time job that paid millions. His Summer 16 tour with Future, $84 million across 54 shows. The Aubrey and the Three Migos tour, that became the first hip-hop tour to ever cross $100 million, pulling in $103 million. But all of that is pocket change compared to what came next. In 2023 and 2024, Drake launched the It's All a Blur tour, and this thing didn't just break records, it destroyed them. 80 sold-out shows, 1.3 million tickets sold, and a grand total of $320,500,000, making it the highest-grossing hip-hop tour in history. That's an average of $4 million per show. And during 2 nights in Washington, D.C., Drake became the first rapper to earn over $5 million from a single arena concert. $5 million in one night. Some of y'all don't make that in a lifetime. But don't worry, neither will I. So could you subscribe? Please. But performing on stage is one thing. What Drake signed off stage made even more money. You already know Drake has been with Nike and Jordan Brand for years. There was the $19 million Apple Music exclusivity deal, Sprite, State Farm, Burger King. But the biggest brand deal Drake ever signed was also the most controversial. In 2022, crypto gambling site Stake.com announced Drake as their official partner. The deal? A reported $100 million per year? That's $273,972 per day just to gamble on camera. And at first, it was working perfectly. Drake's first stake stream hit 250,000 concurrent viewers. By 2024, that number grew to 440,000, and Stake exploded, processing $15.3 billion in deposits in 2025. But then, things got messy. Drake posted on Instagram showing he'd wagered $125 million in 1 month and lost $8.2 million of it. Then Stake started blocking his withdrawals 4 separate times, and these weren't small amounts. So what did Drake do? Exactly what you'd expect. He jumped on Trainwreck's Kickstream and called Stake's co-founder Ed Craven a snake. Man said, "We built this Shan, and they treat us like Shan still." Then he compared himself to Steph Curry, saying he was putting up all the points while someone else got the glory. Then he deleted his entire Kick account and walked away from the partnership. $100 million a year deal, gone, just like that. Oh, and it gets worse. Bloomberg later analyzed 1,500 hours of Stake gameplay and found that when Drake played slots made by Stake's own parent company, he was hitting big wins 4 times more often than the average player. And he's now a defendant in class action lawsuits in Missouri and Virginia. But $100 million a year in gambling money is nothing compared to what Drake spent it all on. Cause now, let's talk about the craziest things Drake owns. Starting with something that shocked the entire internet. But before we talk about mansions and jets, let me start with something in Drake's bedroom that costs more than most people's houses. See, Drake told Architectural Digest that his bedroom is where he decompresses from the world, and that his bed lets you float. Sounds peaceful, right? Until you find out it's a custom Heston's Grand Vividus mattress, handmade in Sweden, stuffed with horsehair, wool, cotton, flax, and wrapped in stingray skin and leather. Horsehair. This thing takes 600 hours to make by hand, weighs almost 1,000 pounds, and comes with a team from Heston's that visits Drake's house 3 to 5 times a year just to flip and massage the mattress. A massage for a mattress. Drake's bed cost $400,000, but that mattress needs a house to sit in, and Drake didn't just buy one. He built an entire 50,000 square foot palace from scratch. See, back in 2015, Drake bought a plot of land in Toronto's Bridle Path neighborhood, aka Millionaire's Row, for $6.7 million. Then he hired designer Ferris Rafauli and said, "Make it last 100 years?" 100 years. Bro was building a monument to himself. And after years of construction, the Embassy was born. This place has an NBA regulation-sized basketball court with the OVO owl at center court, a chandelier made from over 20,000 hand-cut Swarovski crystals that was originally designed for New York's Metropolitan Opera House, a custom Bosendorfer piano designed by Takashi Murakami that sits in a room with 44-foot ceilings, a 3,200 square foot master suite, which is bigger than most people's entire house, a 2-story closet, a recording studio, an indoor pool wrapped in black granite, a home theater. Oh, and the toilet? It opens automatically when you walk in and plays music. A singing toilet? I can't. And you want to know the funniest part? Drake once bought his neighbor's house for $2.6 million just so he could party as loud as he wanted without getting noise complaints. That's not rich. That's a different species of rich. After all the construction and customization, the Embassy is now valued at $100 million. But that Toronto mansion is just one of Drake's cribs. Cause in 2022, Drake bought a Beverly Hills estate for $75 million. This place has panoramic views of all of Los Angeles, a guest villa, a tennis court, manicured gardens that look like they belong in a movie. But here's where it gets interesting. Less than a year later, Drake listed it for $88 million, trying to flip it for a $13 million profit. It didn't sell, so he listed it again in 2024 for the same price. Still nothing. Then in January 2025, he started renting it out for $250,000 a month. When your mansion won't sell, so you just start charging people $250,000 to sleep there. And if 2 massive properties weren't enough, in 2023, Drake paid $15 million for a 313-acre property in Washington, Texas called Dos Brisas Ranch. This used to be a luxury resort called the Inn at Dos Brisas. It was winning awards, getting incredible reviews, until COVID shut it down permanently in 2022. Drake scooped it up for $2.5 million under asking price. 313 acres. That's nearly half the size of Central Park. So when you add it all up, Drake's real estate portfolio alone is worth over $100 million. But a place to live is one thing. How about a place to fly? This might be the most insane flex on this entire list. Drake flies around the world in a Boeing 767, not a little Gulfstream or Citation like other rappers, a Boeing 767, the same type of plane that carries 200 passengers on commercial flights. The interior was designed by the late Virgil Abloh and features plush leather seats, velvet sofas, gold finishes everywhere, a master bedroom with a king-size bed, multiple guest suites, a full kitchen, an entertainment room with flat screens, and a bathroom with a shower. A shower? On a plane? The exterior is painted sky blue with Drake's OVO owl on the fuselage and praying hands on the tail. Now this aircraft is valued at $185 million, with the customization reportedly costing an additional $80 to $100 million. But here's the crazy part, Drake didn't pay a single dollar for it. Canadian cargo airline Cargojet gifted the entire plane to Drake as part of a promotional partnership. They figured that every time Drake posts the plane on Instagram to his 140 million followers, or shows it in a music video, Cargojet gets free advertising worth way more than the jet itself. Free. A $185 million jet. For free. And Drake even did a victory lap around Toronto in the plane when the Raptors won the NBA championship in 2019. Then let the players fly home in it. Must be nice. But at least I got a car, right? Well, Drake's got a few more than me. Drake's garage reads like a cheat code in GTA. His crown jewel is a Bugatti Veyron Sang Noir that he bought in 2010 with his thank me later money, one of only 15 ever made, worth over $2 million, with a custom license plate that says started. Started, as in started from the bottom, on a $2 million Bugatti. The disrespect. Then there's a yellow Ferrari LaFerrari, one of only 499 ever produced, worth over $1.4 million. A one-of-one Chrome Hearts custom, Rolls-Royce Cullinan he had made for the launch of Certified Lover Boy. a Rolls-Royce Mansory Phantom, a Lamborghini Aventador, a Mercedes-Maybach G650 Landaulet, which is limited to just 99 units worldwide, a McLaren 675 LT, a Bentley Mulsanne, a custom 900 horsepower Brabus crawler, and somehow, with all of those, his first car was a Chevrolet Malibu. From a Chevy Malibu to a $2 million Bugatti. I respect it. His entire car collection is estimated at over $9 million. But forget the cars. What Drake wears on his wrist is even crazier. Reportedly, Drake owns 143 Rolexes. 143. But Rolexes are just the appetizer. For his 35th birthday, Drake bought himself a Richard Mille RM056 chronograph tourbillon. That watch cost $5 million. Then there's his Virgil Abloh custom Patek Philippe Nautilus covered in emeralds, one of only 2 ever made, now essentially priceless since Virgil passed away. An iced out Patek Philippe Nautilus 5719 with 1,343 diamonds. And my personal favorite, a Richard Mille RM69 Erotic that displays suggestive phrases on the dial, which Drake wore courtside at the NBA Finals. Mans was at an NBA game with a watch that says, "I want to caress your body." I low-key hate that man. Oh, and speaking of the NBA, Drake had a custom championship ring made for the 2019 Raptors win with over 30 carats of diamonds, costing $150,000. Even though the team already gave him an official one, he just wanted a bigger one. But hold up. That's not even the craziest part about how rich Drake actually is. Did you know that Drake became the first artist in history to surpass 500 million RIAA certified units across albums, singles, and features? That's more certified music than any other human being who has ever lived. Or that he holds the record for the most entries on the Billboard Hot 100 with over 300 songs charted. He was also the first artist to cross 50 billion streams on Spotify, and his catalog generates an estimated $50 million per year from streaming alone. Going off his peak earnings year of $95 million in 2017, that means Drake was making roughly $10,800 an hour, $180 a minute, and $3 every single second. So, in the time it took me to say that sentence, Drake made about $30, and before taxes and lifestyle costs, Drake has earned over $430 million throughout his entire career. But one last fact that I guarantee you didn't know. Drake is responsible for roughly 5% of Toronto's $8.8 billion tourism industry. 5% of an $8.8 billion industry from one person. That's nearly $440 million in tourism money just because Drake made Toronto cool. Okay. Now for the part you've been waiting for, let's see how Drake stacks up against hip-hop's richest. Starting with some names you might recognize. Lil Wayne, the man who discovered Drake, sits at $170 million. Eminem, one of the best-selling artists of all time, $250 million. Drake passes both of them at $400 million. Then we got Kanye West, who Forbes has at around $400 million as well, basically tied with Drake. 2 guys who've been going back and forth for years, and they're worth the same amount. Now things get interesting. Dr. Dre the King of Beats and Business sits at $500 million. Diddy, despite everything, was estimated at over $1 billion before. Well, yeah. Then there's Jay-Z, $2.5 billion. Oh my. Drake would need to multiply his net worth by 6 just to catch Hov. But here's the thing, Jay-Z is 56, Drake is only 39. When Jay-Z was 39, his net worth was around $150 million, which means Drake at the same age is nearly 3 times richer than Jay was. So, catch Jay-Z by 56 if Drake keeps diversifying, selling catalogs, are making the right business move. So to answer the question of the entire video, how rich is Drake actually? Well, with a net worth of $400 million, 14 #1 albums tying Jay-Z and Taylor Swift, the highest grossing hip-hop tour in history at $320.5 million, over $100 million in real estate, a $185 million jet he got for free, a car collection worth $9 million, watches worth God knows how much, and the single most dominant streaming catalog in music history. Drake went from making $2,000 a month on Canadian TV to building one of the most impressive empires in entertainment. And the craziest part? He did most of it by rapping about his feelings. Started from the bottom, and he's definitely not there anymore.